The crimson sun cast long shadows across the alien landscape as Marcus wiped sweat from his brow. 3 months on this unnamed planet, and he still marveled at the twin moons hanging in the purple sky. As Earth's leading xenorchologist, he'd seen countless worlds, but none had captured his imagination quite. Like this one, the ruins stretched before him like a crystalline city frozen in time. Translucent spires twisted toward the heavens, their surfaces covered in intricate patterns that seemed to shift and dance in the dying light. Marcus had been documenting these structures for weeks, but today felt different. Today, the artifacts were humming. He knelt beside a peculiar device embedded in the central platform. It resembled a flower made of pure energy, its petals pulsing with soft blue light. As his scanner approached, the humming intensified, resonating through his bones like a distant song.
"Oh, incredible,"
he whispered, his voice echoing through the empty plaza. The energy readings are off the charts. A sudden shadow passed overhead. Marcus looked up, expecting to see one of the research station's shuttles, but instead witnessed something that made his heart race. A sleek vessel, unlike anything in Earth's fleet, descended gracefully from the clouds. Its hull appeared to be made of the same crystalline material as the ruins. The ship landed with barely a whisper. A section of its walls simply dissolved, revealing a figure that stepped into the fading light. Marcus forgot to breathe. She was humanoid, but clearly not human. Her skin held a subtle luminescence like moonlight on water, and her hair cascaded in waves of silver and blue. She wore flowing robes that seemed woven from starlight itself. But it was her eyes that captivated him, deep violet orbs that held ancient wisdom and unexpected warmth. "You shouldn't be here," she said, her voice carrying a melodic quality. That made his pulse quicken. Despite the warning, there was no hostility in her tone. Marcus found his voice. "I'm Dr. Marcus Chen, xenorchaeologist with the Earth Colonial Survey. We had no idea this planet was inhabited." "It wasn't," she replied, stepping closer. "Not for 1,000 years. I am Zephora of the Nith Collective. These ruins belong to my ancestors." "Your ancestors?" Marcus gestured to the vast complex around them, but the dating suggests these structures are at least 15,000 years old. A smile played at the corners of Zephra's lips. "Time moves differently for my people. We are long-lived, and our civilization spans many worlds." She approached the glowing artifact he'd been studying. "This is a memory keeper. It has been calling across the stars, waiting for the right moment to awaken." As she reached toward the device, her fingers accidentally brushed against Marcus's hand. The contact sent an electric thrill through both of them. The artifact's light intensified, bathing them in azure radiance. "Fascinating," Zephora breathed, her eyes wide with wonder. "The memory keeper responds to both our touches. This has never happened before." Marcus felt drawn to her in ways he couldn't explain. Despite being from different worlds, different species, there was something deeply familiar about her presence. "What does it mean?" "I don't know," she admitted, her gaze meeting his. "But I intend to find out." The research station's alarms shattered. The morning silence. Marcus jolted awake in his quarters, immediately thinking of Zephora. 3 days had passed since their first encounter, and she'd returned each evening to study the artifacts together. Their professional collaboration was becoming something deeper, something that made his heart race whenever she was near. Captain Torres burst into his room without knocking. "We've got a problem. Long-range sensors have detected an entire fleet approaching. Same configuration as that ship you encountered." Marcus's blood ran cold. "How many?" 50 vessels, maybe more. They'll be here within hours." Torres's weathered face was grim. "Command wants you to establish communication. Find out what they want." At the ruins, Marcus found Zephora already waiting. But today, her usual serene demeanor was replaced by tension. Her luminous skin seemed dimmer, and her violet eyes held worry. "My people are coming," she said without preamble. "The council has learned of your presence here." "Are we in danger?" Marcus asked, moving closer to her. Over the past few days, he'd grown accustomed to their easy intimacy, the way they worked. Side by side, their hands often touching as they examined the ancient technology. "The council sees humans as," young Zephora explained carefully, "impulsive,
Ow.
They fear you might damage what remains of our heritage. She turned to him, conflict clear in her expression. But I've tried to tell them you're different. You understand the importance of preservation. The sound of approaching shuttles filled the air. Captain Torres landed nearby with a full military escort. Marcus watched with growing dread as armed soldiers formed a perimeter around the ruins. Dr. Chen Torres called out, "Step away from the alien." "Her name is Zephora," Marcus replied firmly, not moving. "She's not a threat. That's not your call to make." Torres raised his weapon. "We have orders to secure this site." Zephora's ship materialized overhead, joined by two others. The Nith vessels hovered silently, their crystalline hulls gleaming in the sunlight. Marcus could feel the tension crackling in the air like an approaching storm. "Please," Zephora whispered, her hand finding his. The touch sent warmth racing through his veins. "Don't let this escalate. Both our peoples will suffer." Her skin was softer than silk, and Marcus found himself memorizing every detail of her face. In just 3 days, she'd become essential to him in ways he couldn't explain. The thought of losing her, of never seeing her again, was unbearable. "What do you need me to do?" he asked quietly. "Trust me," she replied, "as I trust you." The memory keeper began to glow more brightly, responding to their joined hands. Suddenly, images flooded both their minds, visions of the past when humans and Nith had worked together, building something beautiful among the stars before some great catastrophe separated them. "Did you see that?" Marcus gasped. Zephora nodded, her eyes wide with wonder. "Our species. We were allies once. Partners." She looked at him with new understanding. "The artifacts aren't just calling to preserve the past. They're trying to restore what was lost." More Nith ships appeared in the sky. The human soldiers raised their weapons higher. But Marcus only had eyes for Zephora, this incredible woman who'd turned his world upside down in the span of 3 days. "Whatever happens," he said, squeezing her hand, "I'm glad I found you." "Found me?" Zephora smiled, even as chaos erupted around them. "Perhaps the memory keepers brought us together for a reason." The first shots rang out between their peoples. Marcus and Zephora stood at the center of the storm, their hands clasped, the ancient artifacts glowing with renewed purpose around them. The battle raged above as Marcus and Zephora descended into the hidden depths beneath the ruins. The memory keeper had revealed a concealed entrance, activated only by their combined touch. The underground chamber was vast, filled with more crystalline structures that pulsed with gentle light. "This is incredible," Marcus breathed, his archaeological training taking over despite the chaos above. "These passages extend for kilometers." Zephora moved beside him, her luminous skin providing additional light in the crystal-lit corridors. "My grandmother spoke of places like this. Sacred spaces where our two peoples once shared knowledge." As they walked deeper into the ancient complex, Marcus found himself studying Zephora's profile. The curve of her neck, the graceful way she moved, the intelligence that sparkled in her violet eyes. When she caught him looking, she smiled with a warmth that made his pulse quicken. "Carvings here," she said, running her fingers along the wall. "They tell a story of cooperation. Look." Marcus leaned closer, inhaling her subtle fragrance like night-blooming flowers in starlight. The proximity made concentration difficult, but the images carved in the crystal were unmistakable. Humans and Nith working side by side, building cities among the stars, sharing technology and culture. "Oh, we were more than allies," Zephora observed, her voice soft. "These images show unions between our peoples." Marcus's heart hammered as he saw what she meant. The carvings depicted ceremonies, celebrations, and intimate moments between humans and Nith. Our species were compatible, romantically. Seemed so. Zephora turned to face him, their bodies mere inches apart in the narrow corridor. "Marcus, what we're feeling. It's not unprecedented." The weight of her words hung between them. For days, Marcus had been fighting an attraction that seemed impossible, inappropriate given their circumstances. But seeing the evidence carved in ancient stone, knowing their connection had historical precedent, made his resolve crumble. "Zephyra," he whispered, reaching up to touch her luminous cheek. Her skin was warm beneath his palm, and she leaned into his touch with a soft sigh. "In my culture," she said, her eyes never leaving his, "when two souls recognize each other, we don't question it, we celebrate it." Marcus couldn't resist any longer. He leaned down, and she rose to meet him halfway. Their kiss was gentle at first, exploratory, but quickly deepened as days of suppressed desire found expression. Her lips were softer than flower petals, and she tasted like honey in starlight. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. The crystals around them had begun glowing brighter, responding to their emotional connection. "The memory keepers," Zephyr gasped, looking around in wonder. "They're awakening, reacting to us." Marcus pulled her closer, marveling at how perfectly she fit in his arms. "Is that why you came here? Because of some cosmic matchmaking?" She laughed, the sound like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "Perhaps the universe has a sense of humor. But Marcus, what I feel for you has nothing to do with destiny and everything to do with the man you are." Their second kiss was interrupted by a distant explosion. The battle above was intensifying, and Marcus knew they were running out of time. There Zephora pointed to a massive chamber ahead, the heart of the complex. The room was dominated by a towering crystal formation that reached toward the cavern's ceiling. Images swirled within its faceted surface, showing not just the past, but possible futures. Worlds where humans and Nith lived in harmony, where love transcended the boundaries between species. "If we can activate this," Zephyra said, her hand. "Finding his, we might be able to stop the fighting, show both our peoples what we once were, what we could be again." Marcus intertwined their fingers, feeling the rightness of their connection. "Together. Always together," she replied, her violet eyes shining with love and determination. As they approached the central crystal, Marcus realized this moment would change everything. Not just for their peoples, but for them. Whatever happened next, there would be no going back to the lives they'd known before. The central crystal responded to their approach, its surface rippling like liquid starlight. Images cascaded through its depths, memories of a golden age when humans and Nith explored. The galaxy is one people, their civilizations intertwined like lovers' fingers. "It's beautiful," Marcus whispered, his hand tightening around Zephyr's. "But what happened? Why did our peoples separate?" The crystal's glow intensified, revealing darker images. A great war with an alien race called the Devourers, beings of pure malevolence that consumed worlds. In their desperate battle for survival, humans and Nith had been forced to scatter across the galaxy, each believing the other destroyed. "We've been alone for so long," Zephyr said, tears glistening in her violet eyes. "Both our peoples, thinking we were the only survivors." Above them, the battle grew more intense. Explosions shook the ancient complex, raining crystal dust from the ceiling. Marcus pulled Zephora against him protectively, feeling the warmth of her body, the rapid beating of her heart. "We have to stop this," she said urgently. "If we can show them the truth, make them remember. ... "How?" Marcus asked, though he suspected. He already knew the answer. The crystal pulsed in rhythm with their joined hands, their emotional connection. "A full neural link," Zephora replied. "Both of us. Together. We can broadcast these memories to every ship, every soldier." "But Marcus, ... her voice broke slightly. "The process is dangerous. The energy required. One or both of us might not survive." Marcus cupped her face in his hands, memorizing every luminous detail. "Then we'd better make this count." He kissed her with desperate passion, pouring all his love and longing into the contact. She responded with equal fervor, her arms wrapping around his neck as if she could hold him there forever. When they parted, both were trembling. "I love you," Marcus said simply. "I know it's crazy, we've known each other less than a week, but I can't imagine my life without you in it." "Time is meaningless when souls recognize each other," Zephyr replied, her fingers tracing his jawline. "I love you too, with every fiber of my being." They approached the crystal hand in hand. As they placed their palms against its surface, energy coursed through them like liquid fire. The connection was immediate and overwhelming, Marcus felt. Zephyr's memories flooding his mind while his own experiences flowed into hers. He saw her childhood among the floating cities of her homeworld, felt her loneliness as she studied ancient texts about the lost human allies. She experienced his years of searching empty planets, hoping to find evidence that humanity wasn't alone in the universe. The crystal blazed with brilliant light, projecting their combined consciousness outward. Above ground, every human soldier and Nith warrior suddenly stopped fighting as visions filled their minds, memories of cooperation, friendship, and love between their species. But the effort was taking its toll. Marcus felt his strength ebbing, his vision blurring. Beside him, Sephora was growing paler, her luminescence fading. "Stay with me," he gasped, squeezing her hand. "Always," she whispered back. Though her voice was growing weak, the crystal's projection reached the command ships of both fleets. On the human vessel, General Webb watched in amazement as the true history of their species unfolded. In the Nith, flagship Elder Cathara wept openly at the beauty of what had been lost. As consciousness began to slip away, Marcus had one last perfect moment of clarity. He and Zephora were surrounded by light, their love story becoming part of the ancient crystal's memory preserved forever among the stars. Zephora breathed, her eyes reflecting the crystal's glow. "We did it." Through their fading connection to the surface, they felt the change. Weapons powered down, ships moved into peaceful formations. Two peoples, separated by millennia of misunderstanding, began to remember who they really were, together. Marcus awoke to the gentle hum of medical equipment and the soft touch of familiar fingers stroking his hair. His eyes opened slowly, adjusting to the warm light of what appeared to be a medical bay unlike any he'd ever seen. A perfect blend of human technology and Nith crystal healing chambers. "Hello, my love." Zephyr's voice was like music to his ears. She sat beside his bed, her luminescence restored and even brighter than before. Though she looked tired, her violet eyes sparkled with joy and relief. "You're alive," Marcus breathed. Struggling to sit up, she helped him, her touch sending familiar warmth through his veins. "The crystal, the neural link, I thought we might... die." Zephyrus smiled, leaning down to kiss his forehead. "We nearly did. But it seems the universe isn't ready to part us just yet." She gestured around the medical bay. "Our peoples have been working together to heal us, human medicine combined. With Nith crystal therapy, through the transparent walls, Marcus could see an extraordinary sight. Human and Nith personnel worked side by side, their movements coordinated like an elaborate dance. The integration was so natural, so seamless, it was hard to believe they'd been at war just days before. "How long was I unconscious?" Marcus asked, his hand finding hers automatically. 3 days, Zephora replied. "Long enough for our peoples to begin the process of reunification." The memory crystal's broadcast reached every world in both our territories. Within hours, ancient archives were being unsealed, revealing the complete history we'd forgotten. Dr. Amara Singh, the human chief medical officer, entered with Elder Cathara, the Nith spiritual leader. The elderly alien moved with grace despite her advanced years, her silver hair flowing like liquid metal. "How are our patients?" Dr. Singh asked, her scanner humming over Marcus's vital signs. "Recovering beautifully," Elder Cathara observed, her ancient eyes twinkling as she watched Marcus and Zephyrus join hands. "The neural link has created a permanent bond between them. Their life forces are now intertwined." "What does that mean?" Marcus asked, though the answer felt right. "In his heart, it means," Zephora said softly, "that we're connected for life. Our emotions, our health, even our lifespans are synchronized now. Where one goes, the other follows." Dr. Singh smiled. "It means you two are stuck with each other." The good news is that Nith lifespans are considerably longer than human ones. The bond appears to have extended Marcus's natural life to match Zephyrus. Marcus felt a surge of wonder and gratitude. Not only had they survived, but they'd been given the gift of a lifetime together, several lifetimes. Actually, a week later, Marcus stood in the restored central chamber of the ancient city. The crystal formations had been carefully excavated and rebuilt, creating a magnificent ceremonial space. Representatives from both civilizations filled the vast hall, their faces bright with hope for the future. Sephora approached him, in traditional Nith robes that seemed woven from stardust. In dreams, in her hands, she carried a crown made of living crystal that pulsed with gentle light. "Are you ready?" she asked, her smile illuminating the chamber better than any artificial light. Marcus adjusted his formal diplomatic uniform, feeling only slightly nervous about becoming the first human ambassador to the Nith Collective. "With you beside me, I'm ready for anything." The ceremony was beautiful beyond description. Elder Cathara and General Webb, now fast friends, despite their recent conflict, jointly officiated as Marcus and Sephora exchanged vows in both human and Nith traditions. Their love story had become the foundation for a new age of cooperation between their species, as they kissed to seal their union. The memory crystals throughout the chamber resonated with joy, their light painting rainbow patterns on the walls. The assembled crowd cheered in multiple languages, celebrating not just a wedding but the rebirth of a galactic civilization. "I love you, Ambassador Chen," Sephora whispered against his lips, using his new diplomatic title with playful formality. "I love you, Mrs. Chen," Marcus replied, making her laugh with delight at the human naming convention they'd chosen to adopt as they turned to face their combined peoples. Marcus marveled at the journey that had brought them here. What had started as a simple archaeological expedition had become the greatest love story in galactic history. Together, they would explore the stars, rebuild the ancient alliance between their peoples, and prove that love truly could transcend any barrier, even the vast distances between worlds. Their story was just beginning.